You're watching Local 5 News. We are Iowa.
All right, we are getting so close, and while your family is gathered for Thanksgiving this year, it may actually be the perfect time to talk about finances. So, of course, with us this morning, our good friend, local financial professional, Mark Triplett from Triplett-Westendorf Financial Group. And Mark, yeah, you're going to be sitting around the table with the family, and this could be the good time to talk about all of that. So what is the best way to approach this, you think?
Right, just the thing we want to talk about, finances at Thanksgiving holiday, but it's really important. Failing to have these type of discussions now and waiting for a health or a financial related emergency can be a very costly mistake. And more families are planning to get together this year for Thanksgiving than maybe in years past. And it really does open up the door to have some of these more difficult conversations as long as we approach it in the right manner.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, is approaching it in the right manner. So what are some topics you should discuss with your family?
Well, there are three really on my mind right now. Number one is estate planning. The pandemic really triggered a lot of us to think about our health, our eventual mortality, and really start to address the need for having updated wills and estate plans, or if you don't have one, getting started. And you don't have to be wealthy to have an estate plan. If you own assets of any kind, you have an estate. And if you don't have a plan, the government will have one for you, and you may not like it. So it's important to make sure that you have all of that updated now. Understand what is your estate plan, what documents have you prepared, wills, trusts, for example, who's the attorney involved, who's the trustee if you have a trust. And then what documents do you have included right now, what need to be created from this point going forward? And parents might want to include their adult children in that conversation. Number two on the list is retirement. A lot of folks right now are questioning whether or not they are going to be able to retire. So those who are nearing that threshold of crossing from their working years, their post-working years, the pandemic, inflation, market volatility has got them wondering if they're still on track. And what we find is that a lot of folks, Janu, they miss the mark on how much they're actually going to need in retirement. They underestimate their retirement income need by about 20 to 30%. And usually that's a result as forgetting about healthcare, taxes, and inflation. So coordinating your retirement resources, your income and your assets, putting that against your lifestyle spending today, and then adjusting those for taxes, inflation, and healthcare are so important. And really, that's the only way to get a good hold on, can your resources support your plan? If they can, then maybe you're prepared to make that transition. If they can't, what adjustments do you need to make in order to be able to retire? That's a big topic. And then the last one on my list is long-term care. This is a concern for the entire family, not just the individual. In fact, according to one recent study, 1 out of 5 Americans is a caretaker for an aging parent or relative. And we know that statistically, a 65-year-old today has a 70% chance of experiencing a long-term care event in his or her lifetime. And that's a pretty significant risk that can be very costly. And it's important for families to have that discussion now about who will take care of that aging relative, what is going to be the cost to that person, that caretaker and their family, and how are we going to compensate anybody that's there to do that service for those folks.
Of course, Mark, important to keep in mind to be calm while you have all these conversations. So thank you for all the important information. Where can we find your website to just get some of these tips?
You can visit us at Triplett-Westendorf.com, and just remember to be transparent, set boundaries, and have clear expectations when having these conversations with family members.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Always good having you on.
Thanks for having me.